What's up, guys and gals? Welcome back to our next video log. My name is Splatterchat, and I am here today to hang out with you for a couple of minutes here and just talk about stuff that's been going on over the course of the last week. Anything that really sprung to mind at the moment, although it sounds a little bit excited. It's making me a little bit nervous to talk about. And so this week, how has this week gone for all of you? This week has been very, very good on my part. We got to start off a Stalker series finally, which Shadow of Chernobyl is one of those games that I've wanted to start off on for like ever. Like seriously, I've had a plan to do that series since back when I had like 1,000 subscribers, and it just simply never happened. It was one of those odd situations where it's a game that has been on the list for so long, and I'm really super stoked that we finally got around to playing it, and I think that the reception has just been fantastic. Honestly, the reception has been great. It is nothing like the reception on my cell phone, which is spotty at best. The one that we got has actually been pretty cacophonous, I suppose. No, I don't know if that's the word that I would use, but it's been pretty resounding. People seem to be liking the series a lot, and I'm having a lot of fun playing it, and so I think it's a all-around win. I'm having fun, everybody else is having fun, and so this week has been pretty good for me right now. I think we're winding down on some of our other series, but what I wanted to talk about this week is so last week you may have noticed that I didn't put up a video log. That's because I was feeling a little bit like nothing was going right. Things were just falling apart, and I was just feeling exhausted. I felt like I had no energy left, and I've been battling like allergies, and I've got like this weird, I don't know. I get allergies every year. I have really bad allergies, and what happens is I get allergies, and then I get a throat infection, and it's just a cycle that I go through every spring, and it happens over and over and over again, and I'm in and out of the doctor's office, like, and I hate it. And it's so, between that and just things going on with the channel, I was feeling kind of low, and I was feeling down in the dumps. And ain't nobody want to be rolling around in dumps. That is not the place to be. And so today, that's what I wanted to talk about. I wanted to talk to the viewers that are out there in the Nerd Castle who feel like they're at the bottom of a well. You know how they talk about how life is like hills and valleys? Well, I'm willing to bet that somebody out there right now watching this video is feeling like they're at the bottom of a well in the middle of the valley. And so just like as low as they can possibly get, lower than a lead plumb in the ocean, just sinking straight down to the bottom. And so that's the person that I wanted to talk to today. It's very, very easy. It's like life is weird like that, where it's going to throw you curveballs every now and again. And in my own personal opinion and in my experience, when I was younger, all I ever wanted to do was be like a musician. That's like the thing that I wanted to do. And I started playing instruments when I was very, very young. And I was one of those kids that practiced like 5, 6, 7 hours a day. Like when they say till your fingers bled, that was a literal thing for me, because I listened to all my heroes, and all my heroes that played instruments were like, oh, I used to play 6, 7 hours a day. And so that's what I did. I played all day, every day, and I joined bands, and we did songs, and we played shows, and we did stuff like that. And things went really, really well for a while. And then as time went along, things didn't get addressed between bandmates. The business fell apart. We got older. Like we had jobs, and we had families, and we had stuff to take care of. And even though we were very, very close to the precipice of being musicians for a living, everything just sort of, it exploded at one point, and it was no longer possible to make that work. That like destroyed me. And so after a year, like 6 months of sort of just like milling around doing odd jobs, having given up like my dream job of being a musician, I got a job in IT, and I loved working in IT. It was one of my favorite things ever. I started off working at Geek Squad for a couple years, where I met a guy who is now one of the lead designers for ASUS, and he trained me by hand. He was kind of like my mentor. He taught me everything I knew about computers and, you know, access registers and like all these random things that are going on in the BIOS. And I got really obsessed with that. And then IT was the thing that I wanted to do forever. And then that was right about the time that the economy plunged down, and IT didn't do so well when the economy plunged out. And I moved from Geek Squad into the real estate industry, where I was doing IT for big real estate moguls and things like that. Not like important jobs, just kind of like hanging out in an office all day waiting for stuff to break. That's one of the best parts about working in IT, is you don't really have to do anything until something breaks. But anyways, that fell apart as well. And once again, I was down in the dumps, and I wasn't sure where I was going. And what I'm trying to get out of this right here is that it's possible to fail in life, and to regroup and to regather and harden yourself and strengthen yourself and find something else to apply yourself towards. And in that moment, it can be very, very difficult when you're sitting there and your life is broken all around you. You have no money. You're broke all the time. You've gone through your savings trying to keep yourself afloat. Your job has just pink slipped you at the perfect wrong time. Think about it like that. Like you just did like a down payment on a car or something like that, and then you get pink slipped like the week after. It just seems to be getting worse. Like Murphy's Law is just hammering down on you as hard as it can. And stealing yourself and getting back into the game can be very, very difficult. And I'd be lying if I didn't say it took me years after IT fell apart where I was just destroyed from it, because that was like the second dream of mine that had just been obliterated. And when you see that dream kind of get ground down into a fine powder and then just like rammed down your throat like that, it can really, really hurt deep down, because that's that thing you're working towards so that you can actualize properly and live a happy life. Everybody wants to have their dream job or do their thing. But what I will say is that it's a bit like when I was a kid. And so it might take you, there's no like real way to get this done, but you know, whether you're depressed or whether you're having a hard time in life or whether you're struggling with things, it will get better. A valley is just a lowland in between hills, which tells me that if you walk in one direction for long enough, you're going to get to that hill, and eventually you're just going to start walking on up. It just depends when you want to start walking in that direction. And so I figure right now, if you're struggling, I just want you to hang in there and know that things can get better. For me personally, I've told this story a million times, but like things were not good for me before YouTube, and YouTube has actually like lifted me up out of that and made my life better in every single way. And you know, there were times in my life where I felt like giving up and just like laying on the pillow, and in fact did. I spent a lot of time just sleeping days away in a depression because I had lost my career and everything. And I wish I hadn't wasted that time. I know that that was building towards something now in retrospect, but what I would say is if you're in that position, get out there, start a hobby, do something productive, start working out, get your brain back into the motion of activity, and I think you'll find the edge of the valley a lot sooner than you might surmise. And so anyways, that was just like my short message for the day. That's all that I wanted to talk about. I was a little bit low last week, and so I wanted to talk to everybody and be like, hey, I get there too. I'm human just like everybody else. So if you're feeling low at the moment, I want you to feel better. I want you to know that I have your back here at the Nerd Castle, and hopefully something I've said today will assist you in moving on out with your life. And so there it is. I hope I've helped a little bit. Sometimes I feel like these talks are a little bit ineffectual, like I don't really help anybody. But I really sincere, if it's just one person, that's all that I really ask for, and that's good enough for me. So let's get on to the Q&A section of our weekly, let's see here, video log. We've got, is there any chance you will ever be on, this is from TTut21, is there any chance that you will ever be on the Co-optional podcast? I think it would be a fantastic guest, honestly. There's a chance. There's always a chance. I don't know anybody that's associated with the Co-optional podcast. As I understand, that's the one that Total Biscuit does, yes, with Polaris. I'm pretty sure. I don't know if they only do Polaris guests. I think I've said that before, and somebody corrected me and said that they do just anybody that's interesting on YouTube. I don't know. We'll see what happens right there. I don't have like working relationships with a lot of other YouTubers. Like I'm really, really bad at like social networking, and I don't know. I'm not going to say making friends. It's just that in general, I don't go out of my way to meet people like on YouTube like my peers. Like it's a strange thing to talk about, but it just doesn't really happen that way. Like I know a couple people, like I talk to Mathis, and you know, I know a lot of smaller YouTubers that I talk to every now and again, but really, I don't know. I think those are the sort of things that you tend to get like vetted into, and unfortunately right now I don't have any sick animals. Well, I don't know if that joke works, but well, what are you gonna do? Let's see here. Murden Anoth asks, might be a bit late with the question, but as a fellow wargamer, tell us how you got into 40K and why you chose orcs as dem boys to DACA with. Well, 40K was one of those things that I was introduced to when I was probably actually 4 or 5 years ago. I mean, I got into 40K right after Dawn of War came out on the PC. I didn't really know what it was, but I knew the game was fun because I played it at a friend's house, and it was like kind of like StarCraft almost, and I enjoyed the hell out of it. And through the first Dawn of War game, I started doing research about kind of the world and the lore because everything didn't really work. They didn't do a good job of explaining the universe there. It was very much a game for fans, and so I got into it there. And shortly after, I started hanging out at a wargaming shop, and I just started watching games and stuff like that, and I started buying codices, and I started reading through them and learning the lore and hanging out, you know, on various websites where they have that information. People discuss the game. I chose the orcs because they're super goofy, and I love the way that even with, like, good strategy, sometimes the orcs just, like, sabotage themselves. I find the orcs to just be hilarious. Like, their codices had me, or I'm sorry, their codex had me, like, lying on the floor crying of laughter the first time that I read it, and I think that was 4th or I don't know, it was a while back. It's not even in the new editions, but I was dying when I read about the orcs, and so they just had so much potential and like charisma as like a funny army that I really sort of enjoyed it. Will you ever fix the poster on the left? The poster on the left, as you will see, is now gone. The actual reason that it always falls down is because I'm always trying to replug things into the USBs over here, and I have to slide the computer forward to do it, and every single time it hits the thumbtack that's sticking out and knocks it off the wall. I've actually got something smaller for right there that I'm going to put in just a little bit. I just haven't gotten around to it, so there it is. Let's find ourselves another question here, shall we? So, in your channel, you did a 40K Dawn of War playthrough, taking the chances or the choices of being purely good Will you ever do another playthrough, but with the corrupted bad choices? I'm actually not a Chaos fan, so I doubt it. I don't really like Chaos that much. A lot of players enjoy Chaos. If I ever did play Chaos, it would probably be for Nurgle. That would probably be the only way, because I find all the other armies to not be that interesting. But I do enjoy Nurgle, and so there it is. I stay away from Heresy. There's a Commissar right in the other room who's going to blam me in the side of the head the second that I say that I'm into anything Chaos related, and so there it is. I don't think so. I don't think so. How is the cat? I was in the stream and heard about his dilemma. So if you didn't know, my cat has been very sick. He's old, and he's kind of entering into that period of his life where he has after late life kitty care, and he's fine now. We almost lost him the night that like something went wrong. Basically, his lungs were filling up with fluid, and then in addition, he had an irregular heartbeat. And so I took him into the vet, and we took him into the ER, and we got everything fixed up. It took a good couple days, probably the most stressful couple days of the last couple years for me anyways. And so we got him all fixed up, and he's doing okay now, but he's got to take like 30 pills a day. He's got like a pill organizer and everything else. He takes pills like a 75-year-old man with heart problems, and so he's got all kinds of pills and things he has to take, but he is doing really well. He's been spry, and he's been able to stay active and things like that. The other cat, we took her in the week afterwards, and she actually has Crohn's disease. I didn't even know cats could get IBS. But apparently cats can get irritable bowel syndrome, and so my cat has IBS, and so we've been giving her cortisol, and she's better now. So all the cats at our house are now feeling better, but it's kind of like one of those weird things where both cats have now been prescribed these pills that they have to take for the rest of their lives, and one of them's actually pretty young, and it's just like, wow, I gotta feed pills to these cats for like the foreseeable future, just like forever. I gotta stick my thumb down a cat's throat every single day, and they fight. I will tell you that much. They fight, they bite, they growl, they scream. Oh, they do not like the pills, and they don't eat them if you crush them up either, so it becomes kind of this weird catch-22 where I'm like, let me help you. I don't want you to die. I wish that you understood that I have to do this, and the cat's like, oh, why are you putting a thumb down my throat? It's very, very unpleasant, but it's cool. Let's see here. Aside from the always funny no bueno, do you speak any other languages? No, I don't. I took like 4 years of Spanish, but through just like disuse and not using it very often, my Spanish is pretty bad. If you speak very slowly to me, like I don't know, like a dented 2-year-old, like a 2-year-old child that has smacked his head far too many times, if you speak to me in Spanish like very slowly and very precisely, I can hang in there and we can converse and I can read it pretty well, but I wouldn't say that I'm fluent. I would definitely, I don't know, I need more practice. Let's see here. Is Deadbolt on your list of games to play? I haven't even heard of it. I'll check it out tonight. Let's see here. Who are your favorite YouTubers? My favorite YouTubers, actually, I can bring them up right now. My favorite YouTubers are actually fairly limited at this point. I don't get to watch too many YouTube playthroughs anymore just because I'm always working. However, I do enjoy Daz24680. And so I watch him actually far more than anybody else. And it's odd because he's the exact polar opposite of me. And so whereas my playthroughs are energetic and kind of like I'm always cracking jokes and things like that, and everything is very lighthearted and I play very, very poorly, Daz is actually, he's an older gentleman, in fact, from what I understand. He's talked about his life a few times, and I think he's in his middle 50s or maybe his late 50s, but he runs a channel that's decent in size. I think he has about, let's take a look actually. It's been a while since I checked in with him, but he had like, let's see here. I got to unsub. Oh, he's at 15,000 now. He's doing pretty well. I had to unsub him in order to resub him to see how many subs he had because I didn't want to go to the about key. He plays a lot of, I guess, I watch a lot of the things he does on like minor strategy games, things like Warlock, but he does a lot of Dwarf Fortress and things like that. And so if you're interested, Daz24680, very, very entertaining guy. He's not like hilarious or anything like that, but if you're looking for somebody that very much analyzes the strategy games that he plays, he's just got a relaxing voice too. Very, very easy person to watch while you're just like chilling at 1 in the morning, just like hanging out waiting to get drowsy for bed. Very, very interesting Let's Player. Other people that I watch, Jeff Major, Jefmajor. Jeff Major is hilarious, and he's actually the reason I started my channel. Him and CNanners are who I've modeled my channel after and the way that I sort of run things, and I like both of their channels very, very much. Although CNanners I don't watch too much anymore because he stopped doing like full playthroughs and he started doing just kind of like highlight reels, and I'm not really into highlight reels. I really, his Minecraft playthrough is the one thing that I always remember as like the thing that introduced me to Let's Plays back when he used to play Minecraft, and he was just like doing videos like I do, unedited, like 45-minute plays of Minecraft. And so there you go. Those are my two biggest guys right there, Jeff Major and CNanners are the two that got me into it. And so you should check those out. Mathis, I was definitely watching a while back, but anymore I can talk to Mathis and stuff like that. And so I need to swing back through and see what he's got going on. But honestly, I haven't been watching anybody recently. But as far as that goes, there are several YouTubers that I follow, I check in on every now and again. Let's see here. 2 questions. Are you going to do a show and tell of your fan mail? That's a perfect segue. Actually, right here, let's see here. I got to get things all nice and set up real fast. So a guy named A Bad Bacon has been contacting me on Twitch TV, and he wanted to send over a game, and so he did, and it was very, very kind and friendly of him, and I'm just trying to move things around right now because I've got like a bunch of windows open that have all my information. And so anyways, A Bad Bacon sent over a copy of Grand Theft Auto 5 because here, I've got there we go. He sent over a copy of Grand Theft Auto 5, which was very, very generous, and I very much appreciate it because he heard I got a PS4 a week or 2 ago, and so I do appreciate it. Actually, if you wanted to send stuff over, I can get you the address right now, and so if you're interested in submitting anything from art to just sending me a letter to whatever, the address is P.O. Box 10602, 820 Randolph Street, Napa, California, 94558. And so I check it probably twice a week, and so there it is. I would really enjoy seeing the things you want to send to me, and so it doesn't even have to be things like games or anything like that. If you just want to drop me a line, you can send me a letter if you want to, and I'll definitely be able to read it. That kind of stuff is fun to me. I realize that getting letter, I don't know, it's odd. In the world of email, getting a letter seems like super exciting. It just does. So there it is. Let's see here. And then where did you get the hoodie from? What hoodie was I wearing right here? Oh, I was wearing, okay. I actually got it on Amazon.com. You just put in kitten hoodie, and I think it's from Hot Topic or something like that. I don't know, but that's where I got the cat hoodie from. Have you ever thought about writing a book? I did. I did that. Actually, I talked about my IT career and how it fell apart. Right after that, I sat down and I was an English major for a while when I first went back out to the JC. For about 2 years, I took nothing but English classes and creative writing classes, and I wrote like all day, every day. I started writing a trash fantasy novel, and I have like 2 notebooks, like 600 pages of just like lore and background histories of just like, it's a trash fantasy novel, like the ones you grab off. Basically, like anything that you would find by... I don't want to slander. I have specific people I would call out right now, but I don't like to be mean. And so just like your generic fantasy novels about fantasy stuff. And so I wrote I wrote a collection of short stories that were all with the same characters. I wrote like 6 or 7 of those, and only 2 or 3 of them I actually liked. And so that's how I am, is I tend to like write a whole bunch, and then I sit there and I just edit for weeks. Like I'll write probably like 5 or 6 pages, and then I'll just sit there and I'll edit nonstop and make this part more descriptive and move this over here, and then this part doesn't really work with the character development, so I need to go back in and analyze that and like, what is this character's mindset? And I'm very, very obsessive about it, and that's why I never get anything done. The lore was easy because the lore you don't really have to think about. You just make a bunch of threads that connect to each other, and eventually you have like this crazy tapestry to draw from the world that you're writing inside of. But when it comes to actually creating characters, that experience is much more human and much more difficult, especially since it's hard unless you have like an acting brain to get outside your own mentality. It's hard for me to think, for example, like this character in the story would think, because the character that represents me is that one over there, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not Mary Suing. The characters are all kept in line with each other. None exceeds the other. But the character that's experiencing the story through my eyes is this guy over here. And so it's an interesting thing that you just kind of have to learn to do. But yeah, I did. I got Sarah. I used to write all kinds of stuff, but it was a trash fantasy novel. I actually really enjoy writing short stories for sci-fi or anything else. But I'm just so, like I said, I'm always so busy with YouTube now that it's kind of funny how all your other hobbies fall off when one of your main hobbies becomes your actual full-time job. Okay, so the next one was a question about the poster again. Obviously, that took care of it. So, there's been a severe drop in game updates. Yeah, YouTube's been weird about that. It's called subscriber burn. It was initially surmised by Matt Pat, and a couple people have done videos on it. And essentially what it is high volume channels like mine that do a lot of videos. YouTube punishes us and squelches our updates to all of our subscribers to keep us from spamming their sub boxes, because that used to be a legitimate strategy. And so it sort of sucks because I'm not spamming on purpose. I just like to keep my series running. I like to do lots of series at once so that I don't get bored. But anyways, it is what it is. That would be the reason why you're not seeing updates quite so frequently in your sub box. They're there, so I would suggest that everybody just pop in every now and again and just like see in I put it up on my channel, the upload section right there, where people can run through and see what I've uploaded in the last couple weeks. But other than that, let's see here. Would you consider doing a Let's Play of Baldur's Gate Enhanced Edition? Possibly. Definitely possibly. It might happen. Could you ask one of your cats to participate in the video? Hey, you wanna participate? No, he's napping right now. I don't think he's in the mood for screen time. He additionally is too big. He actually can't fit here with me. The cat is too large. I tried to put him up on the stream and he's just too big. He weighs like 27 pounds or 26 pounds. I don't know. He's huge. He's enormous. Would you like to start a Wasteland 2 series? I think the time has kind of passed on that one, and I didn't really enjoy it that much. Wasteland 2, I think it was a little bit overhyped. Like, I liked the game, but still, it wasn't all that I expected it to be. I think people put my expectations too high. Let's see. Can we expect coverage of Warhammer 40k Eternal Crusade in 2015? Are you a founder? I'm not a founder. I'm hoping that since I'm a prominent Warhammer 40k YouTuber who does like a lot of 40k stuff, that they will send me a key. I'm pretty sure that I can get one if I hit up Games Workshop or if I hit up the developers, just because I do like tons of Warhammer 40k, and I know that a lot of developers that do 40k contact me first. And so I'll see what I can do. I do want to cover it very, very extensively, and so there it is. Whether it's doing sort of like I suppose like a Battlefield broadcast news program talking about what the different factions have been doing on my server, or whether it's just me being in-game, sort of giving you like a bird's eye or actually an on-field view of the battles going on. I'm not sure exactly how it's going to play out for right now, or whether I'm going to have sort of like a Hogan's Heroes or maybe kind of like an A-team group of people like other YouTubers that we get like all 5 of us online and then we go after objectives. I don't really know what's going to happen with that. I'm excited about it though. I'm very, very excited. Will you play Unturned? I would like to. I just got to find a spot in the schedule. I like Unturned. It's a fun game. I think that's going to be about it. If I didn't get your question, feel free to post it again in this week's video down below. My name is Splatterchat. Thank you for joining me here at the Nerd Castle for this little pep talk and then also our Q&A section. I wanted to thank Bad Bacon once again for sending over the copy of GTA 5. I can't wait to get started with it. Time is limited right now, and I'm still playing a lot of Destiny. Destiny is just eating up stupid amounts of my free time. My MMO addiction is coming back in. But anyways, thank you for joining me here today. I look forward to seeing you all next Sunday. I'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.